You're listening to the Droematic Show podcast.
Protects the world from you, protects me from the world.
All right, welcome back to the Droematic Show podcast. Guys, welcome back to the show. How's everybody going?
What's poppin'?
Great, man.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Yeah.
All right, we got a great show tonight, guys. I want to welcome the People's Comedy Club president, Jake Weddle. Jake, welcome to the show.
It's good to be here. This studio is incredibly impressive, and everything looks fantastic. I'm really great to be here.
Awesome. And who'd you bring with you?
Oh, so I got with me Dustin Harris. He's been doing comedy in Greenville with me for the past 2-3 years. Yeah, 2-3 years. He's been doing comedy in a bunch of cities. And this is my girlfriend Gabrielle Goodman. I just got her into comedy recently. She's done stand up a couple of times. She's been doing improv for a couple of years, and she's also been traveling with me when I go do shows and stuff. So.
Nice. So how long have you been the president for the People's Comedy Club?
Oh, I want to say 2 years. I've been the president. I've been a member all 4 years I've been over at ECU. So yeah, I've been pretty involved with the on-campus stand-up comedy over at ECU.
When did you start in comedy?
Back when I was 14. People are always like, "Oh, I hate you," getting it in like that soon in life. But yeah, no, I went to Good Nights Comedy Club when I was 14 and started out there. And yeah, I've been doing comedy ever since.
All right, what about you, Dustin?
I started comedy January 2 years ago. I think that's when it was, so a couple years. And now, the place I started doing comedy, I actually run the open mic there.
And where's that at?
That's at Crossbones Tavern in Greenville, North Carolina.
All right, cool. Good deal. And also one of our co-hosts, Mr. Arts Musa.
Yo!
Musa, how's it going, man?
Amazing, man. Great.
How you liking the podcasting so far?
I'm loving it, man. I'm loving it. And can I say one thing? I know both of these comedians personally, and they're very modest. Jake is hilarious. Jake is one Greenville's funniest 2 times in a row. 2 years running, he's beat me out. Personally, he's hilarious, man. 2 times running Greenville's funniest. He's been on multiple comedy shows with this guy. He kills every time.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
As well as Dustin. I've done multiple comedy shows with Dustin. He kills every time. These 2 comedians are some of the best up-and-coming comedians in North Carolina. They're extremely hungry, and when you're hungry, you do a lot. They take their free shows as if they're paid shows, man. I just want to say personally that these guys are amazing. They're modest.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, Dustin, what made you decide to get into comedy?
I think the same reason that every comedian gets into comedy. You just generally enjoy making people laugh. I think that's the best feeling in the world to me, is to make someone laugh.
Yeah. Are you the only one in your family that does comedy?
Yeah. I mean, what you'd call professionally. Our family get-togethers are real fun events. Everyone thinks they're a comedian.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. How do you style your type of comedy? What category would you put it in?
Comedians have a hard time when they start out kind of finding their place. And even after 2 years, I'm still finding my place as a comedian. I do a lot of one-liners. There's not many people in Greenville, North Carolina that do one-liners, so that's why I kind of go that way. But I can do storytelling. It's just whatever the joke comes out to be at the time, but most of the time it's one-liners.
For our listeners that are kind of new to the comedy scene, explain a one-liner. What does that exactly mean?
One-liner is like the generic term you put on a joke that's more just punchline, like set-up punchline. Like it's just real short, less than a minute long. It doesn't necessarily have to be one line, but it's just you pop them off, keep going. Mitch Hedberg style, Dimitri Martin style, that kind of thing.
Awesome, good stuff.
Like, why did the chicken cross the road?
Yeah.
Like,
I was waiting for the punchline. I ain't have shit, so I ain't no damn comedian.
That's just the setups, yeah.
That's it. I just do like a bunch of setups, and I hope someone has an answer.
All right, good deal. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about the underground comedy scene, somewhat in the North Carolina area as well as across the United States. The underground comedy scene. You guys, how tough is that right now at this point? How tough is it just to make it in the underground comedy? What are some of the trials and tribulations that you guys just go through, like, constantly?
Well, I do want to say, as far as the underground North Carolina comedy scene goes, every year it does get better. Because the past, so much better. Like, maybe, when I started, there was, Good Nights and maybe, 1 or 2 other clubs. But, recently there has been so many more clubs. Not just clubs popping up, but, bars are doing open mic comedy. There are showcases popping up in places. Restaurants are willing to work with what's up? What?
No, he's right. It's getting better, but it's this place called The Post. like the Outpost.
Yeah.
It's a house.
Oh no, they quit doing that mic now. Yeah. No, they're moving that to Knight Rider. They're moving.
Okay.
They just did a show over there. It's like right next to a tattoo place. No, it was a great show. They had their first show like last Wednesday, and it was really great to be there.
But you know how you have a house?
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's a fucking house. A house. No, it's with a living room, a bathroom.
Yeah.
But they converted the living room into a living room. It's still what the hell it is, but you just perform in it.
Yeah.
Like it's a whole house.
I was painting a very optimistic picture, but he's right.
I'm gonna tell the truth. I'm gonna tell the truth about the comedy scene.
Dark alley places.
It's a gruesome scene.
Yeah.
And picture 43 comedians, no lie, to perform in the living room of a damn. Am I lying?
In a living room.
43 comedians to perform in the living room of a damn house.
Yeah.
And we're serious about it. Like we're like, if you don't laugh at me while I'm in that living room, like we mad. Like that's how competitive the scene is right now.
It sounds crazy, but the distances these comedians travel is even crazier. Because there's people that drive 2 hours to get 5 minutes of time.
Where was the furthest you've ever traveled?
In the living room.
I remember that part.
That was a reverb.
Where's the furthest you've ever traveled?
True story. Me and Dustin actually traveled 2 hours a week every Thursday for almost a year.
Yeah.
Almost a year to go to Wilmington to perform a Derrick Rose. Every Thursday, 2 hours a week for 5 minutes. That's how dedicated we were. Like this scene, like you get what you put in the comedy, and that's how we look at it. And it's like I know me being a black comedian, that's what's gonna separate me from the people that's on social media is the fact that 5 minutes. So that's what we treat it like. And I don't know the first I ever traveled, but I want to say probably like 4 hours, probably. 4 hours.
Now, have you guys ever did any auditioning for any type of movie scenes or anything like that yet?
Oh, I did America's Got Talent one time years ago. America's Got Talent's crazy because I didn't make it on the TV, they had like one round for everybody, and it was like, all right, you did a good job, and they tell everyone to go home. But sometimes they'll have like a guy come up to you like after the audition, like, hey, don't tell anybody. There's like a secret round 2 here at like the convention center that we're at, and we want you to do a thing in front of the producers. And then I got to that part, and then the producers never called me back after that. So that was the extent I got to.
You did get the second round.
The second secret round. Yeah, that wasn't TV.
That was the round he was gonna get you butt naked and play with your ass. That was gonna happen.
How'd you know my set?
So going to the level of competition for North Carolina, where do you think it's at? Do you think it's dead even right now, or what?
It depends. I mean, like Jay has said, it depends on how much work you put into it. Comics who are trying to be competitive with other people. If you're working constantly and you're trying to get to every single club, you're making those 3-hour, 4-hour drives to places. Then the opportunities will come to you. But if you're not putting enough work in, if you're not writing, and then you're upset that you're not getting shows, it's because you're not putting the work in. So I think it is a bit of a competition, but it's a pretty fair competition, and the goal of the competition is how much work you can put in.
Exactly.
So if you guys are working full-time jobs, how much time are you spending a week getting ready for a set?
Just getting ready for a set or actually doing comedy?
Just doing comedy.
Doing comedy, I usually do 3 shows a week is what I typically average. We have 2 open mics in Greenville that I go to, and on average I'll have something to do that weekend or some other show during the week that's in a random place.
What about you, RC?
People think I'm retarded at my job. No, for real, because like I don't have the free time to sit down and write, so I write in my head, and I might giggle to myself or I laugh, or they think I'm retarded, but really I'm just preparing for that 1 or 2 sets we have that week, and that's what we got to do. Like we have to write anytime we get free time is when you got to put it together. Yeah. I remember Jay-Z told an interesting story about him, why he stopped writing, because he used to write, but he got further and further from home, so he had to remember it.
Yeah.
And that's how I am. Like you start remembering jokes and just put them together in your head.
Speaking of music-wise, I used to be in the music game myself, and we used to actually write for people. Now, when it comes to comedy, how much do you guys respect a stand-up comedian that actually takes written material from another comic? Do you guys still respect them in the same way?
I do. I think it depends on what level in their career they're at.
No doubt.
When a comedian's new, you see his first special, his second special, all that's going to be him. But I mean, he probably spent 10 years getting that first special. It was amazing. And then if he came back with material that wasn't as good as that first special, he wouldn't be able to continue. So just for the sake of being that good a second time, I can respect him getting some backup writers on.
What about you, Jake? Would you take written material from another comic to perform it?
Me personally, no. But like if you're asking people coming to an open mic and they're bringing someone else's material to the open mic, that person I don't think will like they're only hurting themselves when they do that. I think.
Why do you say that?
Well, because like part of this like stand-up is all about well, yes, you're making people laugh, but you're also kind of like reflecting yourself on stage. And if you're taking someone else's material, you're it's not like the same with music, like because music you can do a cover, but like with stand-up it has to be that personal thing. And I think it might help very, very early on in your career if you're just trying to get the hang of it and you have this great material, and then if you can do that great material, that's great. Then you can perform it well, that's great. But you have to be able to write it too. And if you can't make it on television with somebody else's material, otherwise you will get crucified.
You're going to get exposed pretty much, right?
Absolutely.
What about you, Austin?
I mean, we'll all attest to the fact that if Jake tells a great joke, I'll be like, man, maybe you should add this to it. Now, that's not really necessarily me writing it, but it's me like helping them with the tag. We've all done that for each other multiple times because we're all fans of each other. But I'll say that as far as taking someone else's material, we look at Richard Pryor as being a godfather of comedy, and Paul Mooney wrote some of his material.
Yeah.
So people can say whatever they want to say about people writing other people's material, but like Dustin said, when you get to a certain level, you're a machine now. Like you're not just a comedian. Like Kevin Hart's a machine. He can't get out here and have a year of hour and a half and then turn around another year and have another new year without help. That's impossible.
Yeah.
Chris Rock said it takes 6 months to write 30 minutes of material.
Yeah.
6 months?
6 months. He said it takes him, Chris Rock, one of the best comedians ever do, said it takes him 6 months to write 30 minutes.
Chris Rock invites other comic friends of his and they all have like group
so I was like, imagine how somebody Kevin Hart, there's no way you can have an hour doing movies and doing what Kevin Hart does everything. There's no way you can have an hour.
He's everything.
Yeah. So I think the difference is like when like the comic like invites the comics over and they all talk and they're like, hey, I wrote this joke for you. That's one thing. But if you're just ripping someone else's stuff that you saw on the TV, I think that's a little different. Yeah.
No, we have to prove that we can write our material now. Yeah. But when we get to that level, I think it'll be different. Huh?
Yeah. I would assume so.
The market's like saturated enough at this point with comedians that if you're not original, you can't make it anyway.
So you're saying the comedy market is actually saturated at this point?
I think so. I mean, the Wilmington open mic.
Man.
Yeah, I mean, you might get there, and just in Wilmington, North Carolina, there might be 40 comedians there on a Thursday. Wow. It's just a random Thursday. There might be 40 comedians there. By the time the 40th person goes up, there's like 4 drunk comedians watching them, and they're like, that's pretty good, man.
40 comedians, the 40 comedians at 5 hours, that 2 hours that we drove for 5 minutes get cut down to 3. Yeah. So now we just drove 2 hours for 3 minutes, and that includes the introduction. Coming to the stage, you got a minute and some change.
You got to sprint up.
Yeah. You literally got to run. No doubt, you got to run.
Nice.
For 2 hours.
John, how do you think you'll fare in the comedy scene?
I wouldn't fucking make it, man.
Why not?
Because I'm not a comedian. I might talk shit, but I ain't gonna fucking make it. I promise you. You give me 3 minutes, I'm gonna stand my black ass up there.
Most people don't know that though. Most times you have to tell people like, yo, you think you're funny, but you're not funny. Like us talking, he can be contextually funny because of what we're talking about. But it's no context when you get on stage. It's like you have to build it and be funny. Like people don't understand that's a whole different ballgame.
Your very first time on stage, walk me through how you were feeling.
I was excited because I thought I was funny. I really thought I was funny. Like I did radio and a girl came to promote her comedy show, and she said she thought I was funny because I was being contextually funny, the same way we are now. And she said, "Yo, when we want to host my show," I said, "Of course, I'm funny. People tell me I'm funny all the time." I get on stage. She said, "Yo, these are the drink specials. You got 15 minutes." 15 minutes is 2 hours when you don't know what the hell you're going to talk about.
I say 3 hours.
Yeah, bro. I told a story that was so damn long about me being in the skate ring for the first time. I got 2 laughs, and those are the best 2 laughs I ever got in my life. They were, I guarantee you, like no jokes. Those 2 laughs, I felt like I was on Def Comedy. Those are the best 2 laughs I got in my life. And after those 2 laughs, in all seriousness, when I went back to radio the next day, I had quit already.
Wow.
I was done. Like, it's just something about stand-up, and they'll attest to it. Like, it's a different vibe. It's a different feeling when you're doing well, and it's a feeling that I knew that's what I wanted to do. Like, I was still at radio, but I wasn't there anymore. I was done, bro.
You're done?
Yeah, I was done.
Dustin, walk me through your first time.
I wasn't nervous at all. I was so excited. Like the same thing he said, because I thought I was funny. And I told a bit about having a RoboCop penis. And the title was the funniest thing about it, because the audience did not appreciate it at all. But the rest of my set did well, and the comedians that were in Greenville were so supportive. You know, when I got off, they said, "That was your first time. That was so good. We really want to see you next week." And I was like, "Man, man, this is amazing, and right then you couldn't have stopped me from coming next week. You
Awesome.
know? Like, it was just, I was hooked immediately.
Awesome. What about you, Jake?
My first time, like I said, I was really young when I started. So like my material when I first started, it was like kid stuff. Like I was like my parents were weird. So and I was because that's when you're a kid, like you have to write about what you know, and when you're a kid you don't know anything. So I really just had to take what I could get when it came to my own material. But I remember my first time on stage. I was doing stuff like it was at Good Nights, and that was kind of a cushy thing. I also kind of have to be aware of the fact that being a kid in the room really sets you apart from all the other comics, and it's kind of novelty. Like, oh, that's cute. Look at that kid. He's cute up there. And there was even a weird period where I was turning like 18, 19, and the kid stuff wasn't flying anymore. It got a little weird. So I had like 2-3 years where I had to like, what am I going to talk about now if I can't do the kid stuff anymore? But yeah, when I first started, it was a pretty good set, and I was hooked ever since.
Awesome, man. So you guys don't see yourself doing anything else other than comedy right now?
I hope not, yeah.
If it all goes well.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of avenues you can go down with comedy too.
Mm-hmm.
You don't necessarily have to be a stand-up comedian. There's a lot of people that go to writing for stand-up because there's a lot of jobs out there for writing.
Yeah.
A lot of comedians who aren't necessarily as good at stage performance but can write a good joke.
Yeah.
Even then, there's a lot of any comedian will tell you that's what it is on stage. You have to be good at writing jokes, but you also have to be good at performing jokes.
Yeah.
You can be one and not the other and make it okay, but you will never be famous.
Yeah. I got you.
You should be a ghostwriter. Huh?
Actually, believe it or not, I did write one script for my cartoon. So.
Hey.
Oh, big time. Oh, is that where you were the last show, buddy?
Set up.
All right, cool. All right, so one other thing I want to talk to you guys about, this next segment is about one of the greatest comedians of all time. We just want to kind of talk and see what do you guys think, or who do you guys think is probably one of the greatest comedians of all time. And I'm going to start with you, Dustin. Who do you think would be your favorite top 5 comedians of all time?
My favorite comedians of all time. Eddie Murphy, Mitch Hedberg, John Mulaney. That's tough. I like John Panette and Ralphie May a lot too.
Ralph is cool. I like Ralph. Yeah. What about you, Gabby? Your top 5?
Oh.
Hey.
I got you.
I personally.
Jake in there?
No, don't put me in there. I'm not worthy.
I think it's great, but
Just now your top 5, right?
not quite.
Expand it to 50.
Well, I really like John Mulaney and Chris D'Elia, and I've been doing musical theater for a really long time.
That's tough.
That's tough. I've been doing it for about 12 years now. So I really enjoy Bo Burnham because it's musical comedy. I think it's genius. And George Carlin, Sam Kinison. My parents love Sam Kinison, so I listen to a lot of his stuff.
Go ahead, Jake.
Well, I feel like you got to bring up Dave Chappelle. Like greatest, because there's 2 different categories. There's greatest of all time, and then there's greatest right now, and I think Dave Chappelle can fit in both.
Yeah.
But I mean, my personal top 5. I love George Carlin. George Carlin and Bill Hicks were 2 comics that were like, yeah, comedy's great, but like, what are you talking about? What's the point of the joke? And those 2 comedians really made me think about that. Mitch Hedberg, I think was a fantastic joke writer. I mean, there's no stand-up comedy without Lenny Bruce, and that's going way back to the 50s. And I think like Lenny Bruce is like one of the archetypes of like what like comedy should be. Anti-establishment, counterculture. Speaking truth in whatever your truth is, you talk about it. So yeah, I guess those are my handful of names.
His were way more in depth than mine.
yeah. I don't even freaking.
What about you, Austin? Off the top of your head.
5, man.
Top 5.
Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy's the reason I do comedy, period, man. Honestly, Eddie Murphy, I say Richard Pryor. I love Dave Chappelle and Patrice O'Neal.
Oh, Patrice.
Patrice O'Neal. Right now, to me, Patrice O'Neal is my favorite comedian. Just for looking back and see how much material he had accumulated in that little bit of time he was alive.
Yeah.
It's just like, to me, that might not be the best comedians out, but those are the ones that influenced me the most.
Yeah, the most influential.
That's not even 5, to be honest.
I got you.
But like he said, I'm so analytical when I watch stand up. Like I don't even laugh in stand up as much as the normal person.
You feel like you're studying more?
Analyzing it, yeah. Like, even if it's a great, because they'll tell you, they'll be on stage and I won't laugh at their jokes, and I'll come like, it was a great joke. But I'm just so busy, like, why was it great? That's all I'm asking myself, why was this good?
Yeah.
And it's like, you kind of say, like those directors that just they're so focused on the scenes and the transitions that they're not even enjoying the movie.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
I'm that guy. Like,
Exactly.
I'm in the back. Like, you didn't like the show? The show was amazing. I was trying to learn something.
Cool. What about you, John? Your top 5, man?
Pretty much everyone that they said. Kevin Hart's always been one, and I'm always listening to Dave Chappelle shit. Because all the stuff he talks about has stuff to do with social, culture, politics, and it's fucking hilarious.
Cool.
That's the only reason why I picked Dave Chappelle as like my top one, because he can literally talk about everything.
Cool. Listen, I was actually reading an article the other day from Rolling Stone. They actually provided their top 5 of all time. And I want you guys to tell me if you guys agree with this list. Number 5, Chris Rock. Number 4, Louis C.K. Number 3, Lenny Bruce. Number 2, George Carlin. Number 1, Richard Pryor. What do you guys think of that list?
I think none of us mentioned Seinfeld
Or Bill Cosby.
I think both of those. I always pair Bill Cosby with Richard Pryor. In a weird way.
Yeah.
Because they both had such a big influence on comedians, but
They
one
both
clean
drug
and one
women.
dirty. I actually read an article that said Richard Pryor started his career as a clean comedian and wasn't making it, and then one day just said fuck it and then didn't stop saying fuck it.
Yeah.
That's how he died. But I agree with that. I just think Seinfeld should be mentioned.
I think Seinfeld, on that list, I think he was listed as maybe like number 12. Bill Cosby was number 8, I believe. Dave Chappelle was 12. And Jerry Seinfeld, I think he was 12 or something like that. Now, one thing I noticed that you guys mentioned, I didn't hear a girl. I did not hear not one lady.
I'm
a big fan of Amy Schumer. I'm actually
Like Amy Schumer?
I actually like Amy Schumer.
I'm more of a Sarah
Don't beat me up for that.
Sarah Silverman is
Yeah.
fantastic.
Sarah Silverman is fantastic, yeah.
I'm gonna
like
say
Amy
Ellen.
Schumer, we're gonna have to change your rating system. Female comedians, Ellen DeGeneres had a big impact.
Absolutely, yeah.
She's definitely in my top 10. And I really appreciate her as a human being.
Yeah.
And for her comedy. Wanda Sykes is really great too.
Right now, Ali Wong.
Ali Wong is great.
Definitely, Ali Wong is amazing.
Yeah.
Like you told, killing it right now.
Yeah.
Like, she's my favorite female comedian right now.
Yeah, no, Sarah Silverman, Ali Wong, Mariah Bamford, I think, is a fantastic performer and joke writer. I think Mariah Bamford is fantastic. Also, I think Michelle Wolf is really, really great. I think she had a fantastic correspondence dinner this past year.
they told me.
It was a room full of politicians and news people, and the jokes were great, and she was crushing.
She's fearless.
Yeah, no, Michelle Wolf is great.
She's fearless.
Awesome. Cool.
I think it's definitely a lot harder to make it as a female comedian.
Yeah.
And be ugly. Like an ugly female comedian. Whoa.
A lot of people tag you on as hacky a lot faster if you're a female comedian than you are. And that's Amy Schumer's problem, is that a lot of people think she steals a lot of jokes, but even like some of the more famous comedians, Eddie Murphy, if you watch his Raw special, in it he tells a joke almost exactly Richard Pryor had.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a joke about the poltergeist in there, and I mean, it's the same joke Richard Pryor told before him. But nobody said that about Eddie Murphy at the time, because he was, and still is, in my book, the greatest comedian of all time.
Well, like if Eddie Murphy, like you can probably maybe like find 1 or 2 examples of that, and I'm sure you can find 1 or 2 examples of comedians having similar premises. I think the problem with Amy Schumer is a lot of her premises are very similar to other premises.
But I mean, Eddie Murphy, it predates internet. So Amy Schumer, like it's like a thousand and million detectives for Amy Schumer that she can't get away with anything.
A lot of things that aren't hers are like, it's about her, being a woman, and being very sexual, and sometimes that can be like low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
I guess.
Gabby, how important is it for you to get support from your male peers in the comedy scene? How important is that?
I mean, I don't really care, because I don't really. I try not to do any jokes about me being a lady and talking about like sex and stuff, 'cause I just think that's too easy.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just don't really care. Honestly, the biggest things that I've talked about in my writing is being a Jewish female, because that's what I am. Living in the South was really
That's
weird.
tough.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was quirky. It was weird. You know? Yeah, everyone's. I mean, as far as Greenville's scene, everyone's really supportive. They don't really see you for your gender, race, or religion.
We've been doing improv together for the past 2 years, and in our improv group, it's pretty, male, female, pretty even.
How tough is improv, man?
Oh god, when it's good, it's great, and when it's bad, it's awful.
Bad.
Oh god, it's I mean, when people make fun of improv, I agree. Like but like it's just being comfortable, like that's all it is. I mean, a lot of stand-ups incorporate improv, in their act, and I think Jay does that fantastically. He'll just go off on a topic and then he'll just come up with some stuff. And for me, improv and stand-up were so separate for a while in my head. Like to me, it was like don't let the peas touch the mashed potatoes. Those are two different worlds.
Yeah.
But recently, I've been trying to get more comfortable with improvising on stage, because I used to be like, I wrote this joke and I worked so hard on making sure this joke was perfect. The wording but now I'm like, just be loose, relax, be in the moment. That's the biggest thing, is being in the moment, with stand-up and improv.
Probably opposite for me. I think improv's a lot more. It's more easy and
You think
fun
it's easier?
because you can just do whatever. Whereas stand-up, you have to write and make sure it's concise and stuff. And I guess I'm insecure about my writing personally, but you are a great writer. I think.
Oh, nice.
I agree with him. Far as comedy, when you're too structured, it seems like you mess it up.
Yeah.
My whole thing when I get on stage is just to beautifully fuck it up. That's a beautiful fuck up. That's all it is. You know what you're gonna talk about, but you're gonna let it beautifully fuck up. If you see somebody, you can reference anything that you can pick up on and just accentuate what you were coming to talk about. It's cool to stray off task as long as you stay on course, if that makes any damn sense.
You get an outline.
Yeah.
But it's okay to sometimes draw outside the line.
But all you need is an outline. But once you understand, all I need is an outline.
You got an idea and you go, let's see what happens.
Yeah, that's how you need.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever been booed?
Fuck, of course.
I've never been actually booed. Booing would be definitely better than silence. At least I know they're listening.
Yeah.
They know I'm bad because they're listening.
Yeah.
No, it's the silence that gets you. If you're on the stage, you tell 3 jokes in a row.
Silence is worse.
And the reaction you get is just dead silence. You're just like, well, I'm gonna get off now. I hope you enjoy your life.
Me as being a black comedian, I was watching the special and Jamie Foxx said, yo, you gotta be funny to your people first. And I took that shit to heart. The only close thing to a black club we have is in Clayton. The comedy it's the only close thing to a...
still open?
No, it's not. They changed names 3 times. It's a black club. It's something else now. So I go down there, man, after being raised in Greenville, thinking that these jokes are gonna hit. Let me tell you the blacks said no. They said no. It was some lady in the front row that was telling some joke about me not being circumcised. And she was just talking, and she was eating the wing. I said, yo, and then she looked at boo. I tried to say something to her, she let me just start eating the wing, and then she just flicked the wing down. I was like, that shit took my heart, bro.
Nice.
I didn't quit comedy, but I laid in the bed with my son that night. I really was debating on if this was for me.
It'll make you concentrate.
It'll crush you, man. It'll crush you. If you knew it, man, they laughed at it last week. It'll crush you, bro.
One strategy I always thought is to actually get the crowd on your side at the beginning of the act.
That's 100% correct. You got 30 seconds, right? 15 to 30 seconds.
Yeah, I've heard it's 15.
Yeah, I've always really got it.
First thing you say, that's so
15
important.
seconds. It's like when you're writing an essay, what they always told you in school, you got to get that hook first, and no one's going to pay attention to it.
But pay attention in class, Dustin. Good for you.
It's funny because we have a rule amongst comedians that you don't want to leave the final comedian in the hole. You don't want to bomb and then I got to come up behind you. I actually love coming up in that hole because they're hanging on to that. It makes you a better comedian. And that first 15 seconds, you really catch their attention. You can almost feel the energy shift. Yeah. When everybody looks up like, oh shit, this might be something I want to hear. If that first one just bombs. So I like coming up in the hole. I want you to just eat shit because it's funny to me. Comedians really nice to each other at the same time. When he eat shit, I'm like, yo.
Well, I mean, I'd rather you eat shit as a comedian before me than do really well as a comedian.
Yeah, it's harder to come up high.
It's really hard to come up with someone who just bombs real hard and ruins the room, and then someone who kills and ruins the room. Because if someone's done okay, yeah, then you're great. That's room for you. Yeah.
When somebody kills you, I come next, now you second guessing your shit. Should I do my new shit? Should I just get my shit at work? You're right.
I go up to the guy before me and I give him a compliment. Like, hey, you were so good.
Right, welcome back to the Droematic Show podcast, guys. Welcome back to the show. For our listeners who are just listening in, we have the People's Comedy Club president, Jake Weddle. He brought his friend Dustin Harris and Miss Gabby
Goodman.
All right, guys, welcome back to the show. I want to talk a little bit more about, I guess, going back to the comedy scene for North Carolina. At this point, where are we going? Where are we headed next year in 2019? Musa, I'll start with you.
This is the second year we actually have that Oak City Comedy Festival in Raleigh, so this will be the second year we having that, so that's definitely going to grow. I think the main thing that was stopping us from growing was the networking between each other, and that's getting stronger and stronger. Like, a lot of guys are getting close. The politics is going to still exist, but that's in everything. It's always going to exist. But as a whole, I think we're growing. Like you said, I think we're growing tremendously. And we got a theater, the Whirly Gig in Greenville. And we got a lot of comedy there too. Forgot about that.
Jake, what do you got going on in 2019?
2019, nothing on the books yet for 2019. I've submitted to the Oak City Comedy Festival and I've submitted to the North Carolina Comedy Festival. I also submitted to the DC Comedy Festival just as a Hail Mary. We'll see what happens with that. I'll be doing open mics, as much as I can. I'll be running the Swish Improv group. I'll be doing People's Comedy Club stuff on ECU's campus. I'm still going to be doing comedy, absolutely. A lot of the way the comics, they'll get you is a couple months ahead of time. They'll be like, hey, I got a showcase coming up. I want you on that. We're the Turnage Theater, actually. Thank you for bringing this up. The Turnage Theater is out in Little Washington. They want to do a comedy festival as well. And they want to kind of get the jump on it a little bit. They want to do it out in March. I'm trying to get a couple comics out for I think January 25th. We're going to have our first showcase over at the Turnage Theater. They're trying to turn their lobby space into kind of like a club space, and they have like a bar next to it. So it's going to be really exciting, and it's going to be great to work with the Turnage Theater on the comedy showcases and also the comedy festival coming up. So there's a bunch of festivals coming up in 2019 from Little Washington to Greensboro to Raleigh. So that's all really exciting.
So Jake, you're all over the state.
Yeah, I tried. That's pretty recent. When I started doing comedy, I was a child, so it was really hard to, I was like, yeah, can you give me a ride to this thing? Which was hard to do, and plus, I got school, and I would also, work to pay for school. But recently, I've been trying my best to make sure I'm hitting all the clubs that I can. I've been making it up to Greensboro, making it up to Wilmington, Rocky Mount, starting to do some stuff. Haven't been up to the Charlotte Comedy Zone if they're listening. Just haven't hit you guys up yet, but if you're looking for spots. So I'm trying to do my best to branch out as much as I can. I recently was at the Kentucky SuperCon with the Nerdtendo comedy group. That was the first time I had ever done comedy outside of the state, so that was really exciting.
Yeah, awesome.
That's awesome.
What about you, Gabby? What you got going on next year?
Well, hopefully writing and trying to do as much open mics as I can and learning from these guys. These guys are awesome.
Do you have an open mic schedule next year anytime?
Just hitting
Greenville,
Greenville? What day is that, Jake?
Greenville, we got Tuesday nights. We got Crossbones Tavern. We need to get more people to that because a couple like last year it was super great. It's just the ebb and flow of the population. But Wednesdays we got the Pit Brewing Company. We call it the Comedy Pit. Those shows are always fantastic.
I don't mean to brag, but the fire marshal shut us down.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
Fire.
Yeah. But we also got a Whirly Gig that's starting to do a lot more comedy. They're doing improv, they're doing stand-up. I'll be doing People's Comedy Club show.
So we had Greenville's Funniest.
Yeah, we had Greenville's, and that was a great show, Greenville's Funniest. That was
Jake
super
took that.
I didn't, yeah. Oh, yes, yeah.
Jake takes that every year, people.
Yeah, no, so Whirly Gig, Pit Brewing Company, and Crossbones Tavern will be doing comedy in Greenville.
All right, and Dustin, what about you, sir? What you got going on early 2019?
Right now I only have one show scheduled. I'm doing, I think, Cotton Bud. Yeah.
Great room.
Great room.
Yeah.
Horrible name.
Where's that?
Horrible name.
Horrible name.
Yeah.
That's in Wake Forest, isn't it?
It's in Wake
Yeah.
So many races.
They're doing the shop comedy out there.
Oh, yeah? Oh, I want to be on that show so bad. Hot Shots with the hot wings?
No, not Hot Shots.
Oh, not that one.
Shock Comedy with the shock collar.
Oh, Shock.
On.
No, I don't want to be on that one.
I've done the hot wings challenge with Ghost Pepper. But
we did hot wings.
Be like a dog collar on me, and then the way it works, I'm pretty sure what they do. They didn't fill me in; they just asked me to be on it.
You agree?
Yeah. They were like, "Hey, you want to do comedy?" I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "Hey, you put on a shock collar." But I think the way I've seen it done before is basically the audience gets control of the thing, and to use it, you have to tip. So you tip the comedian to shock him.
Oh, that's good.
Or her, which is cool, I guess. I hope they tip well. No, that's my only show. The beginning of next year, but I recently started running the Tuesday mic, and I'm going to work on improving that. If I can improve that, I'm going to find another place to do it. I'm starting another monthly show at a place in Greenville called Blue Ox. It's like a comic book shop. And we're gonna have a nerd theme kind of paid showcase to go there. I'm gonna get a lot of comedians from North Carolina up there. That's to do the best part you can do as a comedian is not only to try to go to as many shows as possible, but if you have the means to do it, is to run some shows to get some other comedians paid. Because we're all trying to, it is still you're trying to get paid doing comedy. It's not what it's all about, but it helps, travel. And when you have a good time and you get paid to do it, it's awesome. So I'm trying to get some other shows. I got the equipment means to do it now, so I'm going to try to do that. That's what I'm focusing on going in. It's not necessarily just myself, but just try to get some shows.
Rather than the celebrity comics and comedians, did you guys have just basic mentors that help you guys out in your early part of your career? Like
Eric
Shouts to everybody.
Right. So talk about him a little bit.
Eric.
I can name 3 or 4 comics who in my early stages and on. Eric Schaus is one. Matt White's another one. Really early on, back when Mike Mello was banned from Good Nights, I was hanging out with Mike Mello. Mike Mello is fantastic. I'm trying to think who else.
What did you do to get banned?
Oh, no, that's a crazy story. I mean, I won't take Mike Mello's story, but the old management at Good Nights used to not be so great. The management now is fantastic. The management has completely turned around. Brandy Brown runs that stuff now. She used to be a waitress over there. Brandy Brown's fantastic running Good Nights, but the management used to be not good. But yeah.
But Eric Shouts. He started out as my mentor, man. I actually started doing comedy at, what was the name of that club? They used to be a gay club. I started in the gay club.
It was the Tipsy first.
And I had wrote a lot of homosexual jokes. And I was scared because it was a gay club. And Eric Shouts was always one of those people that motivated you to just say it. And he was always just pushing you to say it. And one thing he always stood out with me was he broke comedy down because we would always call it an art form. And he said it's not an art form, it's a craft. Like comedy is just like building a table or building a sword or a craftsman. It's something you're preparing to give to an audience. So it's not an art. And it's your job to go up there and build a set of continuously funny comedy, same way someone would build a table, to present that as something, a piece of product to sell.
Right.
And when you look at it like that, it's easier to do and become professional at. When you're building it, look at it as I'm making something to eventually use to produce money.
Yeah.
And not just getting up here on my soapbox and talking about how I don't like George Bush. But I think some people really confuse it because some people always call it art. It's not an art.
Yeah.
It's a craft.
Now, something you mentioned about the homosexuality aspect. Of course, recently Kevin Hart, he got disqualified and he stepped down from hosting the Oscars. What do you guys think about that? Jake, would you have stepped down if they had asked you to?
I think it's weird that tweets are disqualifying factors for stuff.
Except the presidency.
Right. You can't host the Oscars, but you can run the country. That's weird. I just think it's weird. Because people evolve, people grow. So going back to someone's 2007 Twitter account, what are you accomplishing? Going through all that. That's my opinion on that. Whether or not he stepped down or not, that's up to him and whoever he's working with, and because the Oscars are their own private thing. I just think the whole situation is ridiculous. That we're looking at tweets and making judgments based on that.
It is so hard. You have to really watch what you're saying. Personally, I think that's why Eddie Murphy hasn't made a comeback. Because everyone that's seen his material, they have said some stuff that necessarily wouldn't fly nowadays.
The T-Pain bit was
90% of
he's scared. Honestly, my personal belief, I think he's scared to come back for that reason. You have to watch so much what you say nowadays, just to.
So, what are some of the unwritten rules of comedy that you guys just can't touch in your sets?
So like off-limit topics kind of thing?
Yeah.
I don't think you should never view this anything off limits, but there are certain areas that newer comedians, you always tell they jump political topics really early because they think it's easy to do. But the thing about political comedy and bipartisanship, United States is that you're gonna segment the room in half. If I make fun of Republicans in the room, any Republican in the room is gonna be mad at me. If I make fun of Democrats in the room, any Democrat's gonna be mad at me. To do political comedy correct, you have to be really funny. I think a good example of that, John Mulaney had a bit in his new set.
The Horse in the Hospital.
Bit. And I mean, that was hysterical. And I don't think any Republican got mad at it. And that's the way you have to do it. Jim Jeffries does the
gun bit, yes.
Gun control bit. And I mean, like, my whole family was like super gun nuts. I showed that to them and they thought it was hysterical. And it's like, obviously against that. But they thought it was funny because it has to be that funny. It's a deceiving topic. It looks like it would be easy to do, but it's actually very difficult.
Don't let the political stuff overshadow the fact that you're writing a joke.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
You're writing a joke. Don't just get up and say something, but just you have to make sure it's funny. Bottom line is
the pandering laughs. You'll get the pandering laughs
Sure.
off of it.
Sure.
If you make fun of one side, the other side's gonna enjoy it and laugh about it, but you're still segmenting them. It's hard to move on to anything that isn't political after that point because you've already made half the room mad. And
Anything other than politics that you guys wouldn't touch?
Like I don't think it's like a golden rule or per se a rule that you can't touch. But as comedians, the difference between a comedian and a civilian is that comedians, we live off the basis of intention. Like when you get, if far any of these comedians, if they say the most offensive joke, but I know their intention was to be funny, we're not gonna be offended as comedians.
Yeah.
Even if we just saying the shit wasn't funny because we knew he had tried to be funny. And I think that was so wrong with society. Like you get so bashed and crucified by the media for a joke. But your intention was to be funny. It was a fucked up joke and it was horrible. But overall you wanted to be funny. It just didn't go that way.
When jokes are offensive, like for the sake of being offensive, I think like I'm more offended at jokes when they're not funny than I am at their subject matter.
Yeah.
If you're being shocking for the sake of being shocking, that's kind of hacky. You have to be able to write good jokes.
Yeah.
So I'm more offended. Like when oh, can you believe this joke? I'm like, that was just a bad. I'm more upset that joke sucked than what they're talking about.
And that's what I said. A new comedian said that the more harsh the subject matter is, the harder it is to make funny. So you need chill on it. If you can't make the dead baby joke funny, don't tell the dead baby.
You're just going up going, hey, dead babies.
Yeah. You have to be a better comedian to make the harsh shit funny.
Yeah.
And I think he touched on a little bit, but I think this is not a specific subject, but just the term hacky. You're always trying to avoid being hacky. If you're a good comedian.
If you don't care, you don't care, and then you're a hacker.
All right, for our listeners, man, elaborate on that a little bit more.
I mean, hacky. There are certain like stereotypes in comedian, like in what we do, and they're just like you just. It's hard to explain, but when you see
low-hanging fruit, being offensive for the sake of being offensive, and the joke isn't well written. You're just like, ooh, I said this thing. Isn't that shocking? It's not putting in the work to make the joke good. You're trying to use shortcuts. Yeah, if I'm an overweight comedian. If I did my entire set based off of being an overweight comedian, that's hacky. Unless the jokes are fantastic.
The jokes can be good. I mean, John Panette managed to be that guy, but at the same time, Ralphie May, most of his stuff wasn't even remotely related to him. And he's huge. That's true. He was huge.
Too soon, man.
But you definitely need to avoid that as a comedian.
Maybe like rule of thumb, don't sexually assault women.
I don't know. I know a lot of famous guys who sexually assaulted women. It's like the way to go.
It's weird.
That's how you get into Hollywood, don't you?
Yeah, you get right into Hollywood.
As comedians, like it's certain subject matters that we.
I did not enjoy sexually assaulting women.
That is Dustin speaking.
Views presented by the comics on the Droematic podcast do not represent the Droematic podcast.
But as comedians, if people don't know how long, we can spend years trying to make one thing funny. Like just one thing. Like they try to get that one domestic violence joke off. You can spend a year just try to make that one thing funny. That's weird. Like it has, because I try to take my whole thing when I do comedies. I try to take things that people are uncomfortable with and make it funny because it's genius in that. And I always felt like, yo, if I can make you laugh at this, I feel like a genius. Like if I can make you laugh at domestic abuse.
Yeah, because that is a game. You know, look at this horrible thing, and I made you laugh at it.
And I feel like it's genius in it.
Yeah, the George Carlin would talk about, I would find where the line is, I would deliberately cross it, and I'd bring the crowd with me.
Yeah.
There's nothing
And
wrong
also
with it.
change their perspective too.
Nothing wrong with it. I'm gonna put you in your mouth and I'm gonna breastfeed you after.
That's a good way to work.
Pop a nipple in there.
Promise.
But it's hard. It's hard.
I feel like it's hard, Moose.
It's hard. It's super hard to make those things that people are uncomfortable even mentioning. Even racism.
Oh, yeah.
Like they appreciate it. People, as me being a black comedian in Greenville, it's way easier for me than them. Because they come wanting to know the black perspective. They want to know what I think about certain topics because they don't get it. They might not have a black friend they talk to every day.
Yeah.
So I got it way easier than they do. The people always say I'm funny, but I'm like, bro, it's easy for me to be funny because everybody's listening to me because they want to know what the black guy thinks. And that's true, right? So I'm like, but I have to take it upon myself not to be hacky. To be intelligent, not to go up there and just make your black dudes be like potato chips, etc. Like I can't be that guy because I'm the only one
Potato
here.
chips? You say potato chips?
Yeah, I don't know if blacks do it. But I can't be that guy because I had that responsibility because I'm the only one. I don't know. I feel like the Cajuns are black. I'm the only one.
I definitely think that it's harder. It's so much easier to view a black comedian as hacky, and the same thing for a woman. It's like if a woman talks about being a woman on stage, she gets dismissed so fast.
Yeah.
It's like, you're just a woman talking.
See, just because I was going to ask Gabby about that, and Moose as well as being a black comic as well as a woman comic, you know, the challenges you guys face compared to the majority.
Like me, what I hate is the black comic who tries to still keep his cool intact.
What do you mean?
Like, your truth is the funniest thing you'll ever tell on stage. I'm not cool. I'm not. Everybody know I'm awkward. I'm not. I've never been the what up, baby. Like I'm not. I'm myself. And I get people laugh at me because I'm me. I'm relatable because I'm the everyday guy. Like I think the everyday things are scary. Everyday things attractive. I'm a father. Talk about things like that. And I hate the black guy who gets up and he feels like he still has to be cool. Like you have to maintain, yo man, so ain't no bitches. Like that's just so corny. And people see right through it. Like nobody likes that guy.
Yeah. What about Eric? Because he's like real cool all the time. Like he talks.
No, not all the
on
time.
the microphone.
I mean, first of all, that if he ain't project himself, it's gonna be a long night. yo, fellas, I'm like, they gonna be like, yo, he gotta get through that.
And what about you, Gabby? If you feel like if Jake wasn't, being a part of your comedic rise, how do you feel like things would be? You feel like it would be a little harder if you didn't have somebody just guiding you at this point?
Yeah, I think it would be pretty hard. I mean, I think that there can be validity in like talking about sex and one night stands, because I mean like that is a perspective of being a woman, but I just think just going directly to the like, oh my vagina, like, oh isn't that funny, like I just think like, oh it smells sometimes, like okay, but I mean I never really thought that kind of stuff was like until it like it like if it's written well then yeah sure, but I think it would be kind of hard, and honestly, if Jake didn't really push me to do it, I don't think I ever would. I mean, I always thought in conversation I was funny, because people would always tell me, and that's how I was, but...
You would go back and forth for a while, like, should I, and it's not like, I don't like, I will support you either way. I don't want you to think I'm making you doing stand-up, because if you did want to do stand-up, like, of course, yeah, no. But, like, if you want to do stand-up, you have the ability to do stand-up. But, like, do you think, like, it's like... Like, do you think like stand-up is like a boys' club in a way? Just demographically speaking, if you looked at us.
I mean, if you even think about the question we were asking earlier, who do you think is the greatest comic?
Yeah.
We all named men, even me.
Yeah.
Which I'm a bad feminist, but bad woman. But I mean, it is really tough being a lady in a world of run, by men in general. But
be strong for our women listeners. They're listening to you.
Yeah, I mean,
no pressure.
I mean,
Talk about comedy patriarchy.
I encourage women to go out and give it a try, because people want to hear that female voice. I mean, like, I have only done the mic a couple of times, but people
she's favorite.
like
Yeah, they go to her, especially talking about her.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the only girl that comes up.
In Greenville, we have comics that show up, like female comics show up. We're like, please stay. Where are you going? Like we have like 3 or 4 maybe. Like we had this one like transgender woman come up and do comedy, and we're like, well, don't just come once in a blue moon. Like keep coming. Like we want to make sure that the room is like as diverse as possible. But we have to like promote and you know hope that women come out, and we have to like push for that. You know, say
every woman has a unique perspective that I think everyone deserves to listen to.
So every young girl out there right now that wants to do comedy but they're scared, what would you tell them right now?
I think write down everything you think is funny in a little journal. Like I even when Jake was telling me to do it and I kept saying no, I would still like think of things that were funny and like write it down just in case I ever decided I wanted to do it. And I have stuff that I would like to try in the future, and I think that I encourage people I encourage girls to write stuff down. Like, it's possible. I mean, definitely. I mean, Sarah Silverman has been doing it for a long time, even if she's been in and out. And Amy Schumer, sure, people hate her, but God, she's successful. Yeah. I mean, you can't knock her.
She has more money than me.
Yeah, she has more money than me. So, I mean, Inside Amy Schumer, that's been on for a really long time.
I actually love Inside Amy Schumer as a TV show. I think the TV show Inside Amy Schumer is fantastic.
Yeah. So yeah, I encourage women to talk about even the tough stuff. Hannah Gadsby, Nanette, on Netflix, she talks about, you know, comedy, but also the tough stuff that happened in her life.
Right.
Like, people need to hear that stuff, especially with the Me Too movement coming out. And people
against the other comedians.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Taking a turn. Taking a turn.
Okay, now it's getting tense. I mean, you know, I think it's really important.
Yeah. Good stuff, Gabby.
I think it's harder when women bomb. That's why I don't think they stay.
Why do you
it just seems like when women bomb, they never come back. I don't know if it's just harder for a female to bomb. I don't know if it's just the pressure that y'all feel as women when y'all bomb that y'all just it's different.
You gotta be
girl bomb should never come back
and still come back.
Yeah.
It's putting yourself. I mean, just in general, I mean, for any whoever, it's putting yourself, your own perspective out there, and hoping people like it. I mean, I've been doing theater for a really long time, but as soon as I started doing stand-up, that is scary to me because I'm not a character anymore. That's myself.
Yeah.
That's me.
Scary. That's me.
Yeah.
I
think something they didn't touch on too is a lot of pressure put on the female comics in the area. There's certain things like barking to people.
That's a huge
problem. It's called barking. What you do is you go around to whatever club you're at, because a lot of times open mics are at places like bars where people don't necessarily come to watch the comedy show. They come to have a drink and just be there.
Yeah.
And you have to go let them know about the show and do this. And obviously female comedians are a lot better at doing that. And so there's a lot of pressure that a lot of places will put on. Go, hey, why don't you go bark for us? Why don't you go talk to the people downstairs? Why don't you do this? Why don't you?
I don't think I'd go to bars by myself. I mean, I'd need Chick to come with me. There was a guy after one of my sets that touched my boob real weird, trying to tell me good job. I mean,
one of those shoulder grabs that the thumb was a little traveling.
So imagine if I was by myself. That would be really scary.
It's just bad that guys still do that in this line of work as well.
Right.
So, have y'all as males ever been grabbed?
Yes. I've never been grabbed, but I started in a gay club. Let me just put that out there.
Yeah.
And one thing about gay dudes is that they don't know doesn't mean no to them. They got the law on their side. I feel like, and because I'm good with I'm wording this all wrong. What I'm saying.
The views of the comedians are not 100% of the views of the
I'm wording this all wrong. But one thing about transgender fans is that they're loyal, bro, and it's just weird. I'm not homophobic anyway, but transgender people, when they come out in droves. It just seems like, so you try not to be offensive, but they will be very forward when they try to come on to you. Like any type of gay man at a comedy show, he's gonna introduce himself, he's gonna handshake you, and it's gonna be a long handshake. It's like you trying to check your temperature with it, like your pulse, that type of. And they are there, but I mean, I never want to make my fans feel like, I hate saying the word fan. I'm not that famous. I never want to make people who like me because it's
So modest.
fans just sound like a cocky ass word. Like
It sounds like you're like the head of a cult. My fans, you know.
Fans, like I got like 2 people who like me, and I'm dating one. Yeah, but I mean, they will make you uncomfortable though. They will. They is a horrible term too. Like, first of all, my name is cool. Yeah.
I never had anyone come on to me, male or female. I'm a little jealous even of that.
No, they don't want to.
Somebody touched my hair one time. That was weird.
Drunk moms talk to me sometimes.
Okay, yeah, I get that a lot.
Moms like me.
I don't know why they do after you. Like, your material doesn't seem very drunk, mom.
No, it's not. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's because I'm a little boy. That's why I'm a little boy.
That's what it is.
Awesome.
Picture hair.
You guys got so much energy. I love it. All right, so this last segment, I talked to Jake a little bit about this. Of course, you know you guys do stand up, but we want to do a set called Stand Down, and we just want to do like a 5-minute sketch with each one of the guests. We're going to start with Dustin. Dustin, I want you just to lay something on us, a good story. 5 minutes can be anything, any type of half a set or anything like that. And just work the crowd, man. We're just strangers.
Just strangers.
We're just strangers, yeah.
Oh, man, he asked the one-liner comedian to do stories.
55 one-liners.
Yeah, let me just lay 55 one-liners on you. Stop me when it's time. Let me see. I got to be strictly just comedy, or you want me to talk about it, like process while I'm doing it, or?
So it doesn't matter, man. It's your world. We just live in it.
Alright.
You like you do with the other clubs and picture all the men naked.
Oh, that would be more
Me first.
awkward.
To our guest, I apologize. John, something's going on with him tonight, so we apologize for his
Reverb. When I was a kid, I got one surgery. I only had one surgery my whole life, right? And it's because I'm an idiot. I've always been an idiot. When I was in 2nd grade, I didn't like my teacher. I didn't like her at all. I thought she was annoying. And I figured out the best way in the world to block her out, and that was earplugs. But as a 2nd grader, I didn't have any earplugs. But what I did have was the erasers off of my pencil. I mean, like a little 7-year-old MacGyver, I was like, hard times. And so I stuck some erasers in my ears, because I was the cool kid. And the other kids followed suit. They were like, he's got it. But they used like the big erasers that fit over the pencil, because you can pull those out and you can see where this story's going. So I got one of them out. Successfully, and the other one did not. And since I was 7, the most logical thing for me to do was just leave it in there and ignore it. And I was like, man, when I die when I'm 70, they'll find it. 2 weeks later, there's a terrible infection in my ear, obviously. And so I told my mom, and she was so mad. She was pissed. And so she called the doctor, and the doctor said, you're going to have surgery to get that eraser removed. And my mom asked how much it was going to be, and they said after insurance, your cost is only going to be $5,000. And I was like, $5,000 to not hear my teacher? Hear me out, Mom. So I had the surgery. This is off top. I never told this on stage, but I had the surgery. They told me I could bring one toy with me, and I had a toy Ghost Rider. You know who Ghost Rider is? Yeah. Nick Cage.
Yeah.
I had a toy Ghost Rider, and since I was a kid, I didn't know what his name was, so I always called him Flamer. So I was at the hospital, and I was like, "Oh, what's that?" And I'm like, "It's Flamer. I love Flamer. He's my favorite." Anyway, so I went through the surgery. I woke up, and they put me under with laughing gas that tasted like bubble gum, and I was a little asshole because the guy putting me to sleep, he was like, "Oh, this is just laughing gas, gonna put you to sleep, tastes like bubblegum. You like bubblegum, right?" And I was like, "I hate bubblegum." And he was like, "Well, you'll be asleep in a minute anyway." And that's the last thing I remember. But I woke up, and my mom never beat me or anything about it. She never spanked me, nothing about it. And I was like, Mom, aren't you angry? And she said, I'll get you back. And I thought she had forgotten. And when I was 15, I had my first serious girlfriend. She came over for dinner with my mom, and we had dinner, and it went great because I was really worried. You know, when you're 15, you remember your like girlfriend meeting your mom, and you're freaking out about it the whole time. You're like, oh, she's gonna tell some embarrassing story or something. She never did. My girlfriend was about to leave. She's like, I had a great time, and my mom said, hold on, right here. My mom went into her bedroom, she opened up some drawers, she came back out, and she had a little plastic bag, and it said, Patient Harris Dustin. And then it had a little dollar sign that had $5,000 on it. And she was like, does he listen to you? Because he didn't listen to his damn teacher. That's my story.
What the fuck? All right, good stuff. Good stuff. All right, Miss Gabby. We want to hear something good.
Oh.
Make sure you get that mic over to you.
Oh, yeah. Want to trade seats or something?
Oh, no, this is fine. I can project, I guess.
You're not sitting.
You can do the fight that you got.
Huh?
I mean, you got 5 minutes. I know you do.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds like the beginning of domestic violence.
I
know you have 5 minutes.
Well, I guess some recent stuff that's happened. Back in October, people, I have a lot of friends that like to be like fake woke. Like they'd always post on Instagram, like, you know, if I see anyone posting about, you know, just appropriating this culture, like that's canceled. Like take that off. And they're really serious about that during October. But then as soon as November 1st rolls around, it's like Christmas is the only holiday. You know, that's the only holiday we'll ever celebrate or acknowledge. and I would even try to be like, y'all, it's like November is Thanksgiving. They're like, no, people would seriously, I'm not even joking, people would be mad at me. And be like, no, Gabby, it's Christmas.
Wow.
I wasn't even trying to be annoying and be like, actually, technically, Hanukkah comes first, but like, I was trying to be like annoying. I was just being, the truth was Thanksgiving. And then another thing that had happened was one of my friends in my class was like, I literally stayed up until midnight so that I turn November 1st so that I can listen to Christmas music. And part of me was like, do you guys know how crazy you sound? Like imagine if Jews were like, y'all, I stayed up until midnight listening to Dreidel and bomb. Like I would be a crazy person. But yeah, I mean, I guess.
Good stuff, Gabby. Good stuff. All right, here's my man right here. Let's see what you got, Jake.
Oh God, I'm trying to figure out which. I guess I'm gonna do. You know what? No, you know what? I've been trying to figure out this bit for the longest time. I used to do it one way, and then I just kind of got in like the rut, like the habit of it, and so I tried to rewrite it a little bit. So here's something I've been like tweaking with for the longest time, I guess. And it's a bit about you guys know when you're like you're on your phone and you get ads that pop up that know you way too well, you know?
Yeah.
The targeted advertising. That's the creepiest thing in the world, right? Like they have access to like all of your browser history, you know, everything, your inner thoughts, you know, everything that you ever thought about doing. I had an ad pop up and the ad was like the ad was like hey Jake, we remember freshman year, that party when you got really drunk and shit the bed. According to your Twitter feed, you're on your 3rd tequila sunrise. And according to your GPS history, you had Chipotle for dinner. So according to our calculations, tomorrow morning you're going to need a brand new pair of Fruit of the Loom breathable boxer shorts. Fruit of the Loom breathable boxer shorts, perfect for when Jacob Edward Weddle shits the bed. I had an ad pop up and the ad was like, hey Jake, your Amazon Echoes and picking up your parents fighting every single night for the past 6 months. Your neighbor's police report says this has been going on for like 10 years. They just will not get divorced because of your mom's Christian values. Did not stop your dad from cheating on your mom all the time. Jake, you just want the screaming to stop. And what better way to drown out all those negative noises with a pair of Skull Candy headphones? Make the noises stop with Skull Candy headphones. Third ad. Jake, third ad. Third ad, all right. Jake, we know you've had a finger in your butt. Twice. And we know the second time wasn't that bad. Jake, we're not trying to sell you anything. We just heard you were thinking about deleting your Facebook app and wanted to remind you that'd be a bad idea. People get quiet some parts with that bit. But, yeah.
Oh man, good stuff. Moose.
Am I going?
Yeah, man, it goes.
Oh man, guys, I did not prepare 5 minutes, but we will go 5 minutes if we got to do that, guys. We're just gonna go random. I know y'all did. Y'all did some fire though, man. Let's talk about random shit like the president. I got one-liners too. Having Donald Trump as a president is like having a baby mama that's a hoe, cause you gotta support her even though she's fucking your life. That's great. I need drums. Like, ask me drums for that. Guys, I watch a lot of porn. I watch so much porn that if my girlfriend doesn't pretend like she's buffering during sex, I can't come. Okay, that's a one-liner. Okay, I'm done with my one-liners. Hey, I'm gonna talk about some real shit. Yo, they got these new condoms out, right? Oh my god, like these condoms, like they actually change colors depending on the sexual disease the chick has, bro. For real. And they like if it comes out looking like a bomb pop, like you gonna die. Like they change like on everything. And then it's kind of hard because like when you look at them, you might not know what you got. I think it'd be way better if they made condoms that made sounds. Based on the disease you got, you know what I'm saying? You put it in, and if it made a sound like, that mean you good. You good. You're not gonna die from that. But if you put it in, and it was like, that mean like it ain't gonna kill you, but it might itch for a week or two. You know, it's just like, you know what I'm saying? But if you like put that thing in and say, you know, any dude like we gonna put it in 2 times just to make sure they made that noise, and I put it, that's AIDS. That's AIDS. That's pretty much a dub for you. They're pretty much a dub for you. But speaking of condoms, man, I was dating this chick. Like she was in like all the natural holistic shit, you know, like all the natural, no makeup, you know, she was like lighting candles and shit. And like every time we would have sex, I could never come. Because like every time we would have sex to that nature CD. She would put like, so we'd be in there making love, and you'd be like, like range, cause she was like into that shit, but like I couldn't come because every time I would like get into it, I would think a bird was in the room. You know what I'm saying? Like essentially, like yo, why you keep stopping? Say, bitch, you sound like a fox. It's under the bed. Like I can't. The true story. I don't know how much time I got. I'm just giving my life away to y'all right now.
My life away.
I never voted. Now I'm about to get out of here, man. My biggest fear, my dude, this ain't even funny. Is like, yo, I think if I'm putting air in my tire, it'll blow up and blow my legs off. That's my biggest fear. And that shit ain't no punchline. It's just really I get scared of shit when I put air in my tire. I need to talk to somebody about that shit. That shit fucks me up, bro. That's it. That's it, man.
Good stuff. Jay, you want to do a bit?
No, I'm good.
You good?
Yeah, you have to take all the shows and put them all in one little piece.
You know, after talking to you guys tonight, I just didn't realize how hard comedy was. Mm-hmm. Like, you really have to take that serious.
Indeed.
Like, it's just something like, man, I didn't know it took all of that. I'm just like watching TV and just laughing, but I don't understand all the work that you guys do behind the scenes. So, just amazing. Dustin, before we close out, how can the viewers and our listeners get in touch with you?
Right now, I'm working on that. I'm still new enough. I haven't established myself too much. You know, I usually do it by Facebook and other comedians. I'm hard to get up with right now. So.
Okay. Gabby, how can we get in touch with you?
I'm on Instagram, Gabrielle_Serena. I'm also on Facebook, Gabrielle Goodman. I'm also represented by a talent agency, Kids Unlimited, and I'm with the Swish Improv Group at East Carolina University. That's pretty much it.
Cool. Jake, what about you?
My social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Jake Weddle. I think Twitter's this is Jake21. Instagram's just Jake_Weddle. People's Comedy Club. The Facebook, they have Twitter and an Instagram. PCC_ECU. One of them's all caps. One of them's all lowercase. I forget which is which. And then Swish Improv. That as well.
Cool. Good deal. Anything coming up in January?
January, the Turnage Theater is going to have that first showcase. I'm trying to get comics on that right now. That'll be January 25th.
Am I on that?
Yes.
Perfect time to ask it. No.
Both of you on.
I was about to ask you after the show. We're like, yo, really? You gonna bring it up?
I think all 3 comics in this room will also be on that, yes.
You guys want to get on it?
Yeah.
All right.
Want to get on that? I'll put you on it.
I want in. I just want my
Hey, it's
boob
just
grab.
us.
That's why I'm trying to get my booby grab.
Yeah, come see all of us at the Turnage Theater, January 25th.
Got some new shit y'all ain't invited to.
And Musa, what about you? What you got going on?
Man, find me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, which is weird. Yeah, I'm on TikTok. Somebody reached out to me in a DM, was like, dude, you're so funny, you can make TikTok better. I was like, I bought it. I bought into the shit. I got 5 fans. Your niggas are welcome for all those jokes. All of the artsy Musa, man. ARTSYMUSA. Lord knows. Yeah, find me on that. Find me guest speaking on Droematic podcast, man. Lord willing.
Yeah, man, we're glad to have you as part of the team, man. Like,
I also forgot one. I'm also on Gig Salad. Sorry. Okay.
Oh yeah, he's on a gig, yo. Who got you on the gig?
What?
Who got you on the gig? Didn't I get you on the gig?
Yeah, you got me in the gig.
Yeah, I got one. Get doing all those weird birthday parties for 67-year-old women. They give you they ask you to do a birthday party for a 67-year-old lady.
wow.
In the middle of no fucking where.
Yeah.
PG-13. I'm like, you ain't see shit I did happen. Yeah,
16-year-old's birthday party. Be there. I'm like, I don't know about that.
Some lady asked me, the gig was after prom, 2 hours about not drinking and driving because she didn't want to have sex. That was the gig.
Did you do it?
And fuck no! Fuck no! That shit's like
Funny story though.
I don't have 2 hours of material for teenagers about not having sex. I'm like, y'all ain't fucking nothing.
You're like, can I do 2 hours about having sex?
Yeah, like, you know how pissed those kids are gonna be just be sitting like, what do I gotta come to this shit?
They're definitely gonna laugh at it.
The moms would hate you. The kids would love it.
Yeah, right.
All right, good stuff, guys. Again, we want to thank you guys for coming on the show. You've been a blast. Hopefully, we can bring you guys back later on in the season. Do some
Absolutely.
good
This
stuff.
was a lot of fun.
Yeah, good deal. All right, you guys just listened to the Droematic Show podcast. We're signing off. We'll listen to you guys, or you guys listen to us. Have a good night.
Get my junk off. Shit, fuck, bro. Hell yeah.
You've just listened to the Droematic Show podcast with your host, Droematic.